All right, welcome back to me being cheap. I know for the past couple of years there's been several people asking for a redo of this video, wanting me to make the bread again with the lower baking temperature and for longer amount of time. So if you're new to my channel, this is the Ezekiel bread, and what I did this time, because there's so much involved in soaking the grains, sprouting the grains, dehydrating them, and then grinding, I actually made 3 batches. So this bowl is 3 batches of flour. We're not using that full amount today. And for those of you that want to know how I'm going to store it, I'm probably just going to store it into some mason jars and put them on the counter or in a cabinet. And if it seems to go too long before I get to use it, I'll just pop those jars in the freezer. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is start with our wet ingredients. And so I've got warm water, and this is 4 cups or a quart. I have a cup of honey. Now, for those of you who've watched my old video know that the last time I made this, I used sorghum instead of honey, but this time I am using honey, and that's 1 cup. And then we have a half a cup of olive oil. Doesn't matter what type. And in my last video, I think I was only using 2 teaspoons. Kind of looking back on that, I really think it should have been tablespoons. So we're going to go with the tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of yeast. And again, since we're all about saving money, the yeast, you're going to want to buy that in bulk. And so I buy in bulk, and I just keep it in a Tupperware in my fridge. So that's what we're going to do now for the wet ingredients. So let me get this water. This water is warm but not hot, and we're going to pour it in here into the KitchenAid. So we have that. And then let's go with the honey. And get this in here. It's always fun trying to do things one-handed. Let's see if I can prop that up so it can drip. Okay, so that's the honey. And here is the olive oil. Try not to spill it and make a greasy floor. So we got that. Let that drip. Oops, there goes the honey cup. Well, most of that's out. Okay. And last but not least, we need to add in 2 tablespoons of the yeast. Now, if this is your first time watching the video, I do recommend, please go back and watch the previous video where I go into detail about actually how to prepare all the grains and how to grind them. It's a wealth of information. This is going to be a very abbreviated video. This is a batter bread. It is not, it's not one that when you mix it that the dough forms a nice ball. It's more like the type of batter you would get when making a banana bread. Okay, so we're going to turn this on now and let it mix. All right, I'm going to turn the camera off, but I'm going to let this mix a little longer and then wait about 5 minutes before putting the flour into it. All right, welcome back. I have changed out the whisk attachment for the dough hook. This yeast solution has sat for about 5 minutes, and it looks pretty foamy. That yellow is the olive oil floating. Now we're going to add the flour, and I have pre-measured this out. So on my last video, it was 7 2/3 cup. I just went with an even 8 cups. This is an 8-cup glass bowl. I did measure it with a measuring cup to be sure. I did start sifting it, and it was taking incredibly long. So it's pretty finely ground, but if you have any large chunks, you know, and when you make your flour, you may want to sift that out. So I am going to attempt to dump this in here. Hopefully I can do this one-handed without making a mess. All right, I think I'm gonna have to put this down and do this so I don't dump this on the floor. So I'll check back with you in just a second. Okay, I've added the flour. We're going to mix this. All right, so you get the point. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this. I'll turn the camera off and join back with you in a few. All right, so the dough is mixed up. And again, this is like a batter dough. You can see it's pretty stringy. If you hear any background noise, I do have a house full of kids today. So anyhow, we're going to divide this equally into my prepared bread pans. These are glass Pyrex pans, and I have sprayed them with some pan spray. Check back in with you in a few. All right, I've spooned this into the pans, and we're just going to let it rise. Check back in with you in a few. All right, welcome back. It's been a little less than an hour, and this bread, as you can see, it is up above the level of the baking pan. So I'm going to pop these into the preheated oven, and this time I have lowered the temperature from 350 down to, I think I set it at 320. Yeah, 320. So let's see how it does this time on the lower baking temperature. I'll check back in with you later. Okay, so the final verdict on this recipe was 320 degrees, and I baked this in the oven for an hour and 10 minutes. And of course that was 2 loaves. And I have sliced into it, and it is spongy like bread, cooked all the way through. So I think it turned out okay. So that's the magic number. All right, thanks for watching.